All right, what is going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with another video.
Back at you with Week 16 picks. It is already Week 16. This regular season is almost at a close, and we're almost at January playoff football. We do not have a guest this week, unfortunately, but we should be back next week with a guest. But this week, we're doing it just ourselves, and we start off with Thursday Night Football. Start off with a pretty interesting one, the 49ers at the Tennessee Titans. Titans coming off a loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Niners are looking really good right now and look to be trying to clinch a playoff spot as they're still in the hunt, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are two teams definitely fighting for a playoff spot. Titans specifically fighting for the division as the Colts are tailing them. But for this game, I just got to go with the Niners because the Titans, they're still hurt. They have yet to get Henry back. Julio Jones left the game last week. I don't know if they're going to get A.J. Brown back. So the Titans, man, I know their defense has stepped up past few weeks. But against the Niners, they have too many weapons to pretty much try to limit. Kittle, Samuel, obviously Jeff Wilson had 100 yards on the ground last week. So I think the Niners are just pretty powerful right now, and they're going to keep the hype train going. Give me San Francisco 27-14.
Yeah, I got to agree. The Tennessee Titans, specifically on the offense, are just full of injuries. Henry's not going to be back yet. A.J. Brown is designated to return, but I don't think it's going to be in time for the Thursday night game. Like you said, Julio went out against the Steelers. Like, the Titans are just not – offensively, they're just not looking good because of these injuries. Their defense has stepped up a lot. Their pass rush is pretty underrated. But the Niners, man, they're a hot team right now. They're on a roll. They got guys that can get the job done on offense and the defense. I mean, Nick Bosa's having a great year coming off a season-ending injury last season, I believe. That defense in general has been really, really good lately. So I got to go with San Francisco, 24-17.
We start off, we continue with Saturday football. We get second straight week, we get some Saturday football. And it's actually on Christmas Day, man. So to those watching, I want to wish you guys a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a safe, fun, giving holiday. You guys have a great one, man.
Enjoy it.
This is my favorite holiday of the year. I'm going to enjoy it. It's great that we get some football on it as well. The Browns at the Packers. I got to go Packers. Just going to say it right now. I got the Packers. The Browns, they might be getting some guys back. I know they're also on a short week because they played on Monday. They're on a really short week, actually. So if that's going to come into effect, I mean, if they get Baker back, that might help, although Mullins was pretty solid last week. But you can't bet against the Packers in this one, especially in Lambeau. Yeah, Green Bay wins, in my prediction, 30-24.
Yeah, I got to go Green Bay right here. I mean, obviously, for the Steelers' sake, for the playoffs' sake, they need the Packers to win, and I think the Packers will get the victory here in Lambeau. If they can limit Nick Chubb, and if Kareem Hunt's playing, or Ernest Johnson, whoever's going to be backing up Nick Chubb, if they stop the run, which lately some teams have been able to do for the most part, if they can be able to limit the running game of the Browns, then you're pretty much telling Baker, hey, you got to win it for Cleveland, and he cannot do that.
Nor can any quarterback on that team.
Exactly. They can't get the job done whatsoever. And I got to go Green Bay right here. They're a hell of a team. They just clinched the NFC North. They're actually the first team in the NFL to have clinched a playoff berth. So I got to go Green Bay right here. They're definitely going to want to try to keep a hold of that number one seed in the NFC playoff picture in the conference. So Green Bay, 31-21.
And to close out Christmas Day football, we got the Colts at the Cardinals. The Cardinals have lost 2 straight, while the Colts, man, they have really stepped up since starting 0-3, and they are really driving their way for a playoff spot, potentially the division. Who knows, man? But for this game, it is hard to bet against the Cardinals, but they have lost 2 straight. They are at home this time, but the Colts, man, there's something about the Colts that's just, they're one of those teams, man. They're like one of those really underdog teams that you see every year that's capable of pulling off quote-unquote upsets, because they have how many times this year? Versus the Bills, versus the Patriots last week. They could do it again against the Cardinals. And in my prediction, I think they will. They're just one of those underdog teams, and Jonathan Taylor is riding them the whole way. Wentz has done pretty solid. That defense speaks for itself. I like the Colts so far. I think they could clinch a playoff spot. And if they just keep stacking wins, they should be very comfortable in doing so, especially if they just keep feeding Taylor. So give me Indianapolis in a quote-unquote upset. Let's go 23-20. This is definitely close.
I definitely think it will be close, and I can see Indianapolis getting the victory right here. Taylor is in the MVP conversation, which I think he definitely deserves. I honestly would consider him as one of the heavy favorites to win MVP, not Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, because you look at those two. Well, of course they're going to put up stats like that. It's obvious. They've been in the league for so long. They've won MVPs. Jonathan Taylor, with how he's been able to help this Colts team win consecutively and have great performances, it's very impressive of a guy like Jonathan Taylor.
In his second year.
Absolutely. Jonathan Taylor's a freaking beast. They got a great offensive line. Michael Pittman's coming into his own as the number one week by week. Carson Wentz is very, very good right now. But I look at Arizona's side. They lost 2 straight to the Rams, which was in their house, and then they lost to the Detroit Lions on the road in an embarrassing fashion. You got to think with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray and guys around them, the players on the team, they're going to be frustrated. They're going to want to try to get back to the team that they were earlier in the season. Like, at one point, they were like 8-0 or something like that. Like, they were the last undefeated team in the NFL. They're definitely going to want to try to get back to that type of team, that type of play style on the field. And I think in this game, I can definitely see it happening. For this one, it could definitely go either way, but I think I'm going to stick with Arizona to try to get off this losing streak and try to fight back for the number 1 seed in the NFC playoff picture. So I got to go Arizona here, but I would not count on Indianapolis to get the victory. Should be a hell of a game, though.
It should be.
But give me Arizona 29-26.
And that's to close out Christmas Day, guys. Again, you guys have an enjoyable, fun holiday with the family, man. Sunday football.
Sunday.
We start with the NFC East, the Giants, Eagles. This is a no-brainer. I mean, the Eagles have always had a good resume against the Giants, especially in the last decade or so. Eagles. I got to go Eagles.
I mean, the obvious, right?
I mean, they beat the football team last night actually, and now they're facing another NFC East team. They're also in the playoff hunt. Give me the Eagles here. 24-13. There's just nothing about the Giants.
No, it doesn't help. Daniel Jones is out for the remainder of the season with a neck injury, but it's like he wasn't really doing anything when he was in there anyway.
Nope.
Barkley can't get anything going. Their receivers are injury prone this season. Their defense has been vastly
Performed.
Very.
Performing, yeah.
Very. I gotta go Philly right here. If the Giants pull it off, I'd be surprised, honestly. But the Eagles always have the Giants' resume. So give me Philadelphia, 27-10.
We actually have a good one here. We got the Rams at the Vikings. We're talking Jalen Ramsey versus Justin Jefferson. Oh my, that's gonna be a fun matchup to watch. This will be a fun game altogether. See, man, like I could totally see the Vikings winning this. They just got back to 500, which is good for them. They're also in the playoff hunt. The playoff hunt for both conferences, the AFC and the NFC, is very tight. It's going to be fun to watch these last 3 weeks for sure, especially this week. But the thing about the Vikings is, their history. That they can't really beat, superior competition, or at least very often, or very convincing, and they can't hold on to a lead. And against the Rams, I still like the Rams as a high-powered favorite for the NFC. So I got to go L.A. here, but I think this is definitely a close battle. L.A. wins 33-26.
Yeah, I got to go Los Angeles right here. The Vikings, I know for a fact they're going to put up a fight. Mike Zimmer's going to try to do something to make sure that his job is safe, because he's been a talking point in Minnesota about his job and him potentially getting fired, which I can honestly see. But with the guys that he's got, Kirk Cousins has had a pretty a solid season. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook's a hell of a back. They got guys that can complement them too. Decent O-line. Defense is here and there at times, but they tend to blow leads. And I feel like if the Minnesota has a solid lead early, which I can see the Rams definitely freaking coming back and getting the victory.
Totally.
Because Minnesota can't hold a lead to save their life.
And I can totally see Stafford continue to cook up with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp this season has had a stellar year. A very stellar year. I got the Rams winning here. Let's go 26-20.
Next game, we have an AFC East battle. We have the Bills at the Patriots. These two teams fought on Monday Night Football a few weeks back in absolute disastrous weather, where Mac Jones only threw it, twice?
Yeah,
and the
one completion.
And the Patriots still won. Could that be the same here? See, when I look at this game, I find it really hard to see this Bills team be swept by the Patriots.
But at the same time, you got to look at how the Patriots have been since they started, 2-4?
Yeah.
Like, they've been unstoppable until they lost to Indianapolis last Saturday. But the Patriots, they're still a hell of a team. And I say it every week, Mac Jones is looking like a stud. He's definitely looking to be a great quarterback for them under Belichick. They have a good running game, although I'm not sure what the current status is for Damian Harris. I feel like if he's not playing, then that's going to take a toll on their running attack, considering what they did against Buffalo a few weeks back in the weather Buffalo.
But Stevenson still got 20-plus carries in that game, and they were still able to run down the Bills' rushing defense, which, I mean, it was obvious what they were going to do all game, but they still couldn't stop it.
No.
And that could be a reoccurrence here, except, they're going to be more confident having Mac Jones throw the ball since the weather shouldn't be as horrible as it was back in Buffalo. So I have the Patriots sweeping the Bills. I find it hard to see the Bills get swept, but although the Bills are a good team, and it's really hard to see them not make the playoffs because that's possible. That's possible with how the AFC race is looking right now. This Bills team, at the same time, the whole year, hasn't been the same Bills we saw last year.
No, definitely not.
So I'm going to have the Patriots sweep the Bills, man, by a score of 21-18.
I definitely think this matchup will be close, but I have to agree with Dan. I think the Patriots will sweep the Bills. The Bills are a very good team. Don't get me and Dan wrong, but this season has been very up and down for them. They've been quite inconsistent, but they've shown good performances even in loss, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game a couple weeks back. But the Patriots, their defense is really good, and I don't know how much Josh Allen can really do. He's been trying so hard. Like, how much more does he need to try? Like he did in the Bucs game. But nonetheless, I got to go Patriots here, 23-18. I do think this will be close.
Next game, we got the Bucs at the Panthers. This is a no-brainer. This is a legitimate no-brainer.
Oh, yeah, dude. Tampa Bay, 35-13. I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, 36-16. Enough said. Moving on. We have the Jags at the Jets. I don't know why games like this exist, but this is pretty much battle for the number one pick. But I think the Jags currently have it.
Yeah, they do. They currently have the number one pick. And the Jets, I mean, they won't be without Robert Slay, their head coach, because he tested positive for COVID-19. I think 15 of their players on the roster has COVID as well. I think they all tested positive. But the Jags right now, they have the number one overall pick. They could very well have the number one overall pick for a second straight year. And if I'm the Jags, that's what I'm making sure I have. That's what I'm making sure I have. The Jets, they have 2 first-round picks. They have their own and the one that they got from the Jamal Adams trade with the Seattle Seahawks. Like the Jets, yeah, they could get an earlier pick, but you already have a second first-round pick. It's like you might as well just get the win and impress the Jets fans and Saleh at home and the tight end coach that's going to be the interim head coach for this game. Like, why should the Jags win? You might as well just keep a hold of that number one seed.
Well, even if they tried, I don't see how they do win this game just because that's how bad the Jags are.
I mean, for God's sake, the Jets last year, I think this was the same game last year where the Jets had number one, but then they beat the Jags, and I gave the Jags their first freaking overall pick, which got them Trevor Lawrence. So I think that for this season, the Jags might as well just not even try. And just give the Jets another one. Just say, haha, we got the first pick again.
Well, who's to say they tried all year?
They really haven't. I mean, Urban Meyer's has done more kicking than trying anyway.
Yeah, so give us New York. Give me the Jets 14-10.
Yeah, the Jets 18-9.
Next game, we got the Lions at the Falcons. I still don't know how the Falcons have 6 wins, but they do somehow. They face the Lions. I got the Falcons. I don't trust the Lions at all. I don't.
I mean, yeah, they beat the Arizona Cardinals. It was an impressive victory, and you could tell by Dan Campbell's tone and how he coaches and how he is with the players. He really cares about them. He really cares about the game. He's very passionate about his team, and that's something and someone and a coach that I can respect very much. I really can. But Atlanta, they're still in the playoff hunt. They're going to be fighting with Arthur Smith and Matt Ryan and Russell Gage and Kyle Pitts and guys like that. I think Atlanta can get this victory here, 30-15.
23-21, Atlanta. Next game, we have another no-brainer, probably the lock of the week, to be real with you. We have the Chargers at the Texans. Texans are awful. The Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot as well. They might as well. I think they haven't clinched it, but they might as well. they're going to clinch it eventually. They're going to be a top 5 seed, in my opinion.
I have to agree.
So, give me the Chargers here, 29-17.
Yeah, give me Los Angeles 33-14. I don't see Houston doing much.
Next game, we have an AFC North battle. We got the Ravens at the Bengals. Lamar Jackson could be back. If not, Tyler Huntley, who looked really good last week versus Green Bay, will get the start again. I think it'll be his third start this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals, last time these two teams faced, it was in Baltimore, and the Bengals completely cooked them in the second half. Now, when I look at these two teams, the Bengals are still pretty decent. The Ravens, props to them for being 8-6 with how many injuries they sustained, but there's so many to the point their luck's running out. And thus, I think the Bengals are going to sweep the Ravens.
Yeah, and I think Mixon last week against the Broncos when the Bengals beat the Broncos, I think Mixon got hurt a bit. I don't know if he'll be ready to go, but if he's not, you still got great weapons like Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, guys like that you can throw the ball to.
Versus a bum secondary.
Yeah, that's hurt. That's not performing very good. Like, I gotta go Cincinnati right here. You gotta think that they're the favorites, especially at home. So I gotta go Cincinnati. Let's say 28-25. I can kind of see this game being closer. I can see Huntley possibly making a comeback, but I think Cincinnati still gets the win.
Yeah, I gotta go Cincinnati as well. 27-23. This very well could put them as a favorite for the AFC North. That is if they don't lose the remaining 2 games, or at least if they don't lose 2 of their last 3 games, which is what the Steelers need. Bears at Seahawks.
I gotta go Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's first losing season under Russell Wilson. Granted, Wilson was out for 3 or 4 games, so who knows what those games' outcomes would have been if Wilson was playing and not Geno Smith. But they are going to have a losing season for the first time in a minute. But I still got to go Seattle here. I don't trust Chicago. They had how many chances last week to win the game, and they completely blew it. The offense is just garbage. I know the Seahawks' defense is amongst the worst in the league, but I still don't trust the Bears. I don't trust Nagy.
I mean, the Bears couldn't make a comeback against the Vikings, and you can kind of tell there were points where the Vikings were choking.
Yeah.
And the Bears they couldn't take advantage. They could not take advantage at all. I got to go Seattle right here. Let's say 20-17.
20-16, Seattle. Next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know the COVID outbreaks. The Chiefs today, as of Wednesday, have had no extra positive tests.
Yeah.
The Steelers, on the other hand, have had, as far as I know, 3 players on the COVID list so far today, as this is being recorded before 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Devin Bush, Zach Banner, and
Marcus Allen. And they still got Montravius Adams on the COVID list as well.
So it seems like both teams are suffering from COVID outbreaks. Hopefully the Steelers, their little COVID outbreak thing is very limited. The Chiefs, man, they have some obvious big-name guys on the list. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Harrison Butker. Their star kicker is actually out for this game. He's on the COVID list, thus he is out. So they're going to have Elliott Fry be their kicker for them. And we all know how precious a kicker is these days in the NFL. And a game like this, it very well could come down to it. Even if they get those players back, guys like Kelce or Hill and company, I still see the Steelers keeping this closer than it should, even if those guys are out. Although if those guys come back, if this game isn't postponed, although that's a possibility as well, but say this game isn't postponed and those guys come back, then obviously the Chiefs are still a heavy favorite. They're still a heavy favorite regardless, but they're even bigger of a favorite at that point. I got to go Chiefs here regardless.
Okay.
I do. The Steelers, I do believe, will keep it close, but I got to go Kansas City in this environment at this point of the season. They're fighting for a number 1 seed. They're in Arrowhead. The Steelers are not a very good team. They're mediocre at best.
Especially on the road.
So, under all the circumstances, I think the Chiefs just want it more. So, I got to go Kansas City at home. 26-19.
And I can understand why you say that, and I don't disagree with you whatsoever. If guys like Kelce and Hill and who knows else, if any more new positives come out for the Kansas City, if those guys are out, I still see the Steelers kind of struggling, still playing down, quote unquote, to these backups and practice squad guys that I'm sure will be playing. But I can, just because these guys are out, I can see the Steelers winning because of that. That's the only way I see the Steelers possibly winning against Kansas City is because those guys are out with COVID. And by that, if they don't get cleared, if they don't come back, then I'm going to go with the Steelers right here, 24-23. I think it'll be close. I think the Steelers will struggle in a bit, especially in the first half, but they'll come back in the fourth quarter. They'll do what they can. I think they'll just edge out a victory, but only because the notable names like Kelsey and Hill and other guys potentially were out for COVID.
Right, but it'll be interesting to see if there's any more positive tests or who gets brought back just in time for this game. It'll be very game-changing, literally.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Next game, we have the AFC West battle, the Broncos at the Raiders. I mean, when I look at these two teams, I see two very young teams, honestly, that obviously have some issues. It's hard to pick this one because, like, the Raiders won last week. They almost lost to Nick Mullins, sure, but they won regardless. And when I look at the Raiders, I've said the past few weeks, and they've kind of shut me up, but I'm still going to stick with my guns here. The Raiders, man, there's only so much they can do at this point of the season. There's only so much they can win just based on who the Raiders are and who they have. The Broncos, I think Drew Lock's going to be starting this game, but they're going to heavily rely on their rushing attack as they should because I believe Javonte Williams is top 10 in rushing yards, and he's been splitting carries all year.
And you can't sleep on Melvin Gordon either. He's still a very good back.
So, when I look at these two teams, it's hard for me to pick, but I'm going to go Denver just because I like their rushing attack more, and I think it'll be very effective. And that's where they should lean on, and I think they will. So, give me Denver here, 22-20.
I'm going to have to agree with you. This is another game where I think, one, it's kind of undecided based on how the two teams are right now at their current state, but at the same time, it could go either way. But just based on Denver's rushing attack and their defense and how guys like Justin Simmons and Patrick Surtain and guys like that have been playing lately and have been stepping up and how the defense of Denver has been doing throughout the whole season, I think Denver can get this victory right here. Give me Denver 30-23.
Next game, Sunday Night Football, we have an NFC East battle. We have the Washington football team at the Dallas Cowboys. I got to go Cowboys. Washington's fighting for a playoff spot, sure, but I just don't see them making it. They lost last week versus the Eagles. They're facing a much better team in the Cowboys here. And, props to Washington for getting this far with how many injuries they sustained and how many issues they've had throughout the year. Big props to Ron Rivera, but, their luck's running out as well, and their time is running down very, very quickly towards this part of the season. And I think Dallas pretty much closes the door on their playoff hopes. So Dallas wins 28-23 in my prediction.
Yeah, I got to go with Dallas. The football team, they had a good run. I think they won like 4 some games straight, something like that, but then they lost 2 straight. And, it's just, there's only so much that they can do. The remaining of their schedule is basically the NFC East. And when it comes to NFC East, it could definitely go either way. But for this one, I don't see it going either way. I think Dallas will get the victory and win and just have a great performance. I really do. So give me Dallas 38-16.
And to close out Week 16, guys, we have Monday Night Football. We have the Dolphins at the Saints. I think the Saints will still be starting Taysom Hill. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would assume so. Who else they got?
I have no idea. Simeon? But, to be real with you, it's like the Saints are just fighting for pride at this point. The Dolphins are actually fighting for a playoff spot somehow, some way. But, impressively, they've won 6 straight. They started 1-7 and have won 6 straight.
Yeah, they have ever since the trade deadline. Actually, I saw this somewhere on Twitter a couple days ago. Tua, ever since the trade deadline, because it was rumored about Deshaun Watson going to Miami, but they didn't go through it because of the allegations with Watson and everything like that. Ever since then, Tua stepped up big time. He's done very well. He's been very good at limiting the turnovers. He's been very good at getting the ball to his targets like Jalen Waddle and guys like that. Like, Waddle's been very, very good, and he should be coming back in this game too, because I think him and Phillip Lindsay will be coming off the COVID list if they haven't already for this game. So that should help their offense a lot. And going up against the Saints defense that I still think is one of the best in the NFL, it's going to be tough for sure. It's going to be a true test for Tua. But for me, I think there's only so much that the Saints defense can do because the Saints offense just can't seem to do anything, at all whatsoever. I mean, yeah, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football with literally only 3 field goals, but you're not always going to win by field goals at all. And with the amount of times that the defense is going to continue to get on the field, they're going to get tired, and there's only so much that they can consistently do. So I have to go with Miami to get a victory right here by a score of, let's say, 14-10. I think it will be highly defensive, but Miami gets a win.
I agree. This will be highly defensive. This will be a pretty boring Monday Night Football game, the second to last Monday Night Football game of the year. But give me Miami. I think they're going to continue on their hot streak, and the Saints, again, they're just fighting for pride, but you're right. The offense just can't get nothing going. There's only so much Kamara can do. They have no receivers. Taysom Hill is not a quarterback. And the defense, man, they're just going to get stressed out on the field. And the Dolphins' offensive attack has been striking, obviously. So, yeah, give me Miami here, 17-13. But that is our Week 16 picks, man. Give us your guys' Week 16 predictions in the comments below. You guys have a fantastic, very safe holiday, safe travels if you're traveling. Enjoy the family time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all you guys. And see you guys in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!